The next hearing in the Supreme Court will be on Monday on the President's rule that's been implemented in Arunachal Pradesh. The government has been asked to file a reply. Supreme Court has sent a notice. The reply, we understand, will come in by Friday. Rhythm is joining us with more details on what really transpired in the courtrooms. Rhythm, they asked for the governor's report to be furnished within 15 minutes. That was done. Then what happened?
Absolutely. In fact, a 1.5 hour hearing, and very clearly the game has now been established in the way that the government and the Congress wanted. One thing is for clear, this hearing can now be called the date controversy, because the entire hearing, Tanvi, was really about when the governor gave his recommendation to the union government to impose president's rule in the state of Arunachal. That was the main crux of the argument. Let me first begin by stating that the hearing is now over. The order was being dictated. The notice has been issued to the union government on this petition filed by the Congress. Remember, this petition had been filed at a time when President's rule had not been imposed. President's rule was imposed yesterday in Arunachal. This petition was filed on Monday, that is on the 25th. So keeping that technicality aside, the Attorney General kept stating that since the President's rule was imposed only yesterday, we cannot say that this particular notice is a challenge to the President's rule. Keeping that aside, the Supreme Court has today issued a notice to the union government on the Congress's plea demanding the quashing of the cabinet decision to impose President's rule in the state of Arunachal. That's the first point. The second point is the next date of the hearing is Monday. Union government will have to file its reply by Friday in the top court. Most importantly, the Supreme Court has also directed them to tell the Congress lawyers the date on which the governor gave his recommendation. The date becomes crucial because in the last hearing in the Supreme Court, Harish Salve, who appeared for the BJP government, had given an undertaking that no action could be taken by the BJP government during the time this appeal was pending in the top court. The point the Congress lawyers are trying to make is that constitutionally the BJP government had given an undertaking in the court that there would be no recommendation and nothing could be happening in the state of Arunachal, and yet President's rule has been imposed. That's the point that's been made by the Congress. It's a case in which we saw a lot of laughter in court. It was a jam-packed courtroom. We saw the doyens of the legal world inside. For the Congress, there was appearance made by Congress top legal Kapil Sibal, Rajiv Dhawan and Fali Nariman. For the other side, there was Satyapal Jain, who appeared for the governor, and the Attorney General and the Solicitor General rushed in 50 minutes after the hearing and made their point. The Attorney General made just one point, Tanvi. He said, how can this particular plea be filed when President's rule was imposed only yesterday? A technical point being made by him, but finally he did get his point across to the Supreme Court that has said, all right, we shall give you a chance to give your point of view as well. Satyapal Jain, earlier on in the hearing, we saw, the Supreme Court was extremely irritated because they did not have the recommendation of the governor in their hands. Something they said they should have had because every development should have been told to them in the Arunachal Pradesh case. However, his lawyer went out within 15 to 20 minutes. The report of the governor was brought into court, but he also stated, I cannot give out the report of the governor to the other side. It's a confidential report. I will only be giving the main points, and of course I can tell the court, Supreme Court can be handed out the report, but it is in confidence, so the other side will not be given out a report.
In fact, just to go back to the point that you were making,
several points that were made by the Attorney General. He rushed into court.
Rhythm, just to go back to the point that you were making about the date, because that becomes crucial since there was already a hearing, with the Constitution bench on this case. Now that the governor's report has been submitted, is there already a conversation that took place about the date of this report, or is that something that takes place on Monday now?
There was a huge conversation, Tanvi, about the date of the report, and that's why I say that date of this report and the so-called secret date of this report is what was the entire hearing that was on for the last 30 to 35 minutes. We heard a very assertive Attorney General appearing for the union government state that that particular report cannot be handed out right now. Satyapal Jain stated the date cannot be given, it's in confidence. However, Fali Nariman, Kapil Sibal, Rajiv Dhawan, speaking in one voice, said we have to be able to make the necessary changes in our petition, and therefore the date of the recommendation of the governor is extremely crucial to us. At one point, in fact, the Supreme Court also read out the President's Rules Proclamation, the notification issued by the government, or some sort of a notification that they had with them, in which it was said that this President's rule has been imposed after a report has been given by the governor. A lot of discrepancies in the court between both the sides. The one side saying there are several reports. Attorney General said there are several times that recommendations were given by the governor, so we cannot give out this one date that the Congress is looking for. Then the Congress lawyers clarified we are looking for only that date on which President's rules imposition was recommended by the governor. So even though it seems extremely technical, Tanvi, the basic point that was being made in this court was simple. This case is heard on Monday, replies have to be filed by Friday, and that very crucial date which we are talking about again, that the date on which the governor gave his recommendation to the union government asking for imposition of President's rule, that date has to be given, and direction has been given that that date has to be supplied to the Congress lawyers so that they can also make their application.